But yeah, it's fun to be here. I mean, even if it's 100 degrees.
It is.
It's all good.
So where do you call home?
We live in North Georgia,
North
Lake
Georgia,
Lanier.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's nowhere near 100 degrees.
No. When I left yesterday, it was 68 degrees or something like that. So it was very nice.
You just broke everybody's heart.
Sorry about that. Yeah, it was beautiful day. So it's a little shocking to get to the 100-degree temp, but we're inside and we're all good.
So I mentioned that you are a Disney legend. Now they give you the trophy and everything. So where is your award? Where do you keep your Disney Legend award? That's my favorite question to ask. Because
it's actually in our dining room. Yeah, it's on like a little buffet. So when you kind of walk in the front door, it's off to the right-hand side, and it's super pretty and very meaningful, and I'm very, very grateful. Very grateful. It's been a wonderful journey for all these years.
So what does it mean to you to be a part of that Disney family? First off, were you a Disney fan growing up? Like what were your movies that you like to watch?
Yeah, I grew up loving Cinderella. That was sort of my princess and my era of time, and was always a Disney fan. Loved the Sunday night magical world of Disney with Walt. And it was such a special thing to be able to enjoy as a family on Sunday night. So yeah, I did grow up as a Disney fan and went to Walt Disney World in 1971, I think it was, for my first trip. And we drove down from Illinois, where I'm from originally, and it was quite the road trip. And with my cousins and my mom and my aunt, and we had a blast. It was incredible. Yeah, so seeing the castle for the first time as a kid, after seeing it on TV, was very, very magical.
So let's get a little controversial. Disneyland or Disney World? Do you have a preference?
Yeah, I mean, both of the parks, both of our parks are incredible, and I love them. But there's really something pretty magical about Florida. I think it's probably just the size that's incredibly overwhelming, but very fun. But both are awesome. Both parks are great.
Do you have a favorite ride?
I do. So in Florida, it's kind of between Everest Expedition and Galaxy. Is that what it's called? Edge. What's it called? Cosmic Rewind.
Cosmic Rewind, yes.
Yeah, Cosmic Rewind is incredible. I was there for the opening of that attraction and then the opening of Tron. And Tron is super fun too, but a little bit uncomfortable at times on your neck and your back, when you're not kind of used to being in that sort of strange position, but still super fun. But I really love Cosmic Rewind. I love the flying of that. It's an incredible roller coaster, but you really do feel like you're flying. You kind of forget that you're on a coaster with a track. It's not really a track, but it's an unbelievable feeling to be able to fly. But I'm a huge fan of Everest Expedition. I do love that. I love the inside-outside aspect, and gives you more of a kind of a classic roller coaster feel, which I enjoy. So yeah, I think I'm torn probably between those two.
And being a part of that Disney family, coming to shows like this and going to shows like D23 where you get to meet the fans.
Right.
What is that like, listening to people's stories?
Right. Yeah.
About how I grew up on you, I watched you every day, like what is that feeling?
Oh my goodness, it's a huge spirit of gratitude for me when I hear everyone's story at the table. I love getting to hear how everybody made a connection to Ariel, and they remember where they were the first time they saw the film and what they were wearing and who they were with, and it's beautiful, to be able to share that and to be a part of their story is really a huge gift, and feel very, very blessed. There are times where it's really overwhelming, when I kind of take in the whole process that I've been with the company for 37 years, and to have this iconic character that I've created, and to see the impact that the character has upon people's lives is really, you know, astounding. So I'm very grateful.
Yeah, I mean, the stories that even I've heard of people talking, when I get to tell people what my schedules are, and they're like, you get to work with Jodi Benson. I tell her I have a tattoo. Right?
Yeah, right.
How many tattoos? How many tattoos have you seen?
Lots of tattoos.
Lots of tattoos.
And lots of signing of tattoos. And, you know, doing I think last weekend I did a lot of tattoo signatures where they were going to attach it, and it was actually a tattoo alley in our last city. And so we were in Toronto, and they would go get their tattoo and come back and show it to me. So that was really fun. I actually don't sign skin anymore because the Sharpie kind of bleeds and it's not really as crisp and clear. So I've been signing white paper, just simple paper, and then the artist can take that and magnify it, reduce it, make it just the right size. And I usually give 2 or 3 samples so that they can take it to the artist and see which one's gonna fit best. So yeah, I mean, when you stop and realize that I've been part of something for so long and that it has this impact into people's lives and to change their lives and change their atmosphere as far as how they encounter all of our movies is really, really beautiful. Obviously, we're under strike right now, and I know the panels are extra tricky, so I'm sorry about the Q&A. I've tried it the last 3 cities, and it's been not very successful. So we're doing our best, trying to modify, but all of my characters are struck characters. I do have the TV series of The Little Mermaid that I did for 4 years that's unstruck. So I always can chat about that. I'm working on a project for Angel Studios, which is Wing Feather Saga. So we're in our 2nd season for that. We just released our soundtrack last week, shooting the music video in 2 weeks, so I'm looking forward to that. And then we just released our Lego Disney Princess Castle Quest on Disney Plus, and that's an unstruck product, so we've been able to chat about that. And so we're doing our best to navigate around the strike to be able to still, you know, love and serve our fans to the best of our ability. And we all appreciate, you know, your support and how we're trying to navigate this crazy season right now. But we're very grateful that SAG-AFTRA has given us the amendment and the permission to do conventions. Because initially we weren't allowed to. And then we were able to do some modifications. And having just come out of COVID, none of us really wanted to kind of lock down again and not have the opportunity to meet with fans face to face. So this has worked out well. We're very grateful to our union for accommodating all of us that are here, because, you know, initially none of us were going to be able to come at all.
Right. Now you mentioned, you know, tattoos, you being a part of somebody's life, and speaking of part, almost a year ago to the day, you released Part of My World.
Was it almost a year? I didn't realize that. That's right, it's September 1st, yeah. So I did a little book that came out last fall called Part of My World, and it's been a lot of fun. It was really super scary. I never wanted to write a book ever in a million years, and the publisher kind of reached out and just said, you know, what if you shared a bunch of stories to say thank you in ways that I could sort of give light to other people during my career and my journey. And so that worked out well, to be able to share stories. So it's kind of a collection of stories, and you can put it down after one chapter and pick it back up another day. And it's been very enlightening to me, again, because I never wanted to do one, but it has encouraged people, you know. I've shared a lot of the mistakes I've made in my life and how I've gotten from point A to point B, and hopefully, you know, if somebody picks up the book and they're encouraged by one of the little stories, then it's been well worth the challenges of writing it.
Did you keep a diary, keep notes during your career? Like when you had to go and think back, how did you were you just sitting there racking your brain? Like,
yes,
what happened here?
It was very hard to go back to my childhood and remember things. I am not good with memory. I'm not good at all. My husband's really good, so he was really helpful. But there were a lot of frustrating times trying to recall what actually happened. So I wrote something in the front of the book that basically said, you know, give me some grace. I'm sure I've made a million mistakes in recalling this information, but I've tried to do it to the best of my ability. So I sort of put that at the beginning of the book so that I wouldn't get anybody angry and frustrated with me if my retelling wasn't accurate. But it was very challenging, very challenging. Everything was done on recording, so I did not put pen to paper. Everything was recorded. But I'd find myself after a 4-hour session, my brain was just mush, and I could not remember anything, and I need to take a break, and we'll tackle it again tomorrow. And yeah, I had to pray for some kind of recollection skills to be able to come forward, because it was really, really challenging for me to remember.
But now it's out. I mean, it's done great. So congratulations on that. Did you have a favorite book or a favorite author that impacted you during your life, during your career?
Let's see. I was probably a fan of like Hans Christian Andersen and all the fairy tales. Definitely had that collection. And then once I turned 18 and had made a commitment for faith for me, I found myself really reading and delving into devotionals, and I guess you call them self-help books, but I kind of called them more of like motivational books that would line up for me and kind of help me through a season of time as a younger person. And I found that to be very encouraging for me, and I still do enjoy reading books that help me to be a better parent, to be a better wife, to be a better friend. I'm always learning and, you know, making mistakes, I'm sure, on a daily basis. But my hope and my prayer when I wake up is to be light and salt and love and, you know, to make an impact in somebody's life. And if I can get through the day focusing on others and less on myself, I have the opportunity to really listen and hear people, what they have to say, especially when they come to my table and share their story. I want to give each person that time, you know, that personal time to connect and just kind of hear, you know, maybe where they're from and what brought them here today, and what does, you know, do my characters mean to them, do the films mean to them, the impact, and that's really special. So if I can kind of shift my daily focus less about myself and more about others, then it's a day of purpose for me. You know, it's a day of, I can put my head on the pillow at night tonight and go, you know what, I feel like I loved and served others well today to the best of my ability, and above all, to be kind. And that can be challenging, you know, when you're exhausted and we're traveling every week, and we can have short fuses. Those of us that are on tour right now, and we're in the middle of a strike, and that's really stressful and scary. And people are losing their health insurance and their income and their homes, and we're trying to stay focused on our purpose here. Our purpose here is to love and serve our fans, and without all of you, we wouldn't be here. None of us would be.
That's everything you said, that's a great way to look at it, and that's something that I struggle with as well. Now you mentioned these are sometimes frustrating times with the strike, exhausting, 3-day weekends here. So I have to ask, on a lighter note, how do you unwind when you go home after a long 3-4 day convention weekend? What do you do?
Well, it's been a pretty crazy season, I would say, since February of 21 until now. I have probably been traveling every week. That's a little bit unusual. I used to keep it at once a month, but after the shutdown, we were playing catch up. We were trying to catch up with all of the conventions that we had to cancel. So for me, my travel schedule has been a little bit crazier than usual. So they're back to back, and I usually have 36 hours at home a week. And that can be challenging. Obviously I get time with my husband and my son and daughter-in-law. They live in Atlanta, so I can see them. But my daughter just moved to New York, and so trying to see her once a month gets to be tricky when you only have 36 hours off. So I did have 36 hours of a job in New York after Toronto, and that was a 4-day con, and had those 36 hours to work, but also to see my girl, and then come home and then have another 36 hours off before coming here. I leave Sunday at 1 p.m. to go straight to Walt Disney World and get on the Disney Wish on Monday morning. And I work on the ship from Monday to Friday. Then I work at D23, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I come home, I have 48 hours off, and then I'll be in Tampa. So it's a little bit exhausting.
I'm tired just
so there's a lot of, sleep, try to, good nutrition, exercise every day, sleep those 8 hours so that I have a brain to really function the next day with the fans. But then after Tampa, I have a chunk of time where I don't travel and I work in Atlanta. So I can do it. Like I know that I can make it straight through. But it's pretty much been like that since February of 2021. And again, that's an unusual season. That's not how it was before. But a lot of us have just signed like a 2-year contract with another convention company. And so again, we're playing catch up for those years, that 1.5 years that we missed. So it is tricky at times, but sometimes I really don't know what city I'm in. So I have to stop before I say it and say thank you so much everybody in, and then I'm like, wait a minute, where am I? I don't remember which city I'm in right now. So yeah, that's always a little bit of a challenge, but there's nothing, it's all good stuff though, because the conventions are wonderful and we love getting to meet all of you, and so it's all good. It's all good.
I love that you mentioned your daughter, because there's a topic that I want to talk about, and that is earlier this year, you got to share a stage with your daughter in Gypsy, right? So how did that come about? Whose idea was it?
Yeah, so about a year ago, let's see, it would be February 2021, March 2021, I think it was. I had a symphony concert in Fort Myers, Gulf Coast Symphony. And after that symphony concert, my daughter and I were doing the concert together. So Delaney's a musical theater girl. She just graduated from CCM, College Conservatory of Music in Cincinnati, and moved to New York, and has an agent and is booking and working and doing what she loves, which is awesome. So we had done a concert together with Gulf Coast Symphony, and after the concert, the producer came up and said, I've got this great idea. What if you and your daughter do Gypsy together, the Broadway musical? Well, I hadn't been on stage doing a show in over 22 years. I said, I don't know. I mean, I do concerts all the time, but I haven't done a book musical in a really long time. And honestly, I just don't know if, I'm going to be able to do it, if I'm going to be able to memorize all the score and the script and choreography and get back in it. So it was my daughter's senior year, so she decided she did want to do it, and I said, let's go for it. So we had 10 days of rehearsal, one technical rehearsal with all the wigs and the costumes and the quick changes and the sets and the props. It was like being shot out of a cannon. It was terrifying and exciting at the same time. So we did a weekend of shows together, and it was so incredible. Like it's a memory that I'll have forever.
Right.
Watching my daughter on stage and seeing her and acting with her, playing opposite her, it was just incredible. So as terrified as I was and scared and excited, it was a dream come true.
Did you catch yourself at all during the performance watching her and not like...
It would happen in rehearsal a lot where I'd be watching her and I'd be watching her like her mom, and then I'd be going, oh my gosh, I'm working with her as a professional, and she's the ultimate professional. She is so amazing and hardworking, incredible work ethic, compassionate, kind, gracious, helping everybody out with their choreography, helping anybody that needed to learn their lines. And I'd look around and I'd see her helping the other cast members, and I thought, that's an incredible gift. She made an impact in that cast and that crew. She really did.
How does it feel as a parent knowing that she's following in that theater, that Broadway footsteps?
It's exciting because it's what she wants to do. Both of our kids are in the industry. My son's a film and television production major from SCAD Atlanta, and unfortunately just wrapped his film as assistant executive producer with Will Ferrell and Reese Witherspoon on their new Amazon Prime movie coming out. We don't know when, but they did wrap before the strike. So, but his next job is an unnamed job I can't talk about that was being shot in Los Angeles. So of course on strike night that job is postponed. So he's been doing some of our interim agreements in the Atlanta area and can participate in some of the unstruck work that we have that we've been approved to be able to be a part of. So he's really grateful for that work. And he's actually joined up with me and my agent to do some cons with me. So yeah, so he worked for me in Chicago, and then he's going to work with me in Tampa. So that's been very fun. But it is fun to have both of the kids doing what they love, the gifts that God's given them. They've actually been, incredibly gifted to be able to do the things that they love in the arts. So yeah, so it's great.
As I mentioned, following your footsteps, you started off in theater, Broadway, and as we talked about being a Disney fan, you got to perform in Smile.
Yeah.
And you got to perform Howard Ashman's Disneyland. Can you tell us a little bit about working with him, who eventually went on to work on a movie that shall not be named?
That's right. Yeah, so I did do a Broadway show called Smile with Howard Ashman and Marvin Hamlish. And the leading character that I created, they wrote a beautiful song called Disneyland for my character. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. And the powers that be from the unnamed company had come to see the show and came backstage to visit. And Howard was already working on our film, our animated feature film. And he graciously, unfortunately, our show closed tragically after just a few weeks. So it was really sad. We all lost our jobs, and he felt so badly for us that he invited a handful of us to audition. So that's kind of how it happened, and then went in to do the audition on a reel-to-reel tape, old-fashioned reel-to-reel came up with a voice, sang my song that I imitated Howard on a cassette tape, and about a year later got the call that I had gotten the job, and it was just changed my life forever. Never knew that it was going to turn out to be something all these years later that we'd be talking about and enjoying. We were supposed to disappear as cast members and you would never know who we were. That was kind of the way that Walt wanted it when it came to voices for animation. But a few weeks before the film came out, they sent me on press tour and revealed who I was and who I was playing, and my life has changed in a huge way ever since.
Going back to a little bit of Broadway, what was the last show you saw, or the last really good show that stood out to you?
Oh my goodness. Well, because my daughter just moved in May, I have been to New York 4 times since May, so I can see her each month. And each trip we have seen a handful of wonderful, wonderful Broadway shows. I really enjoyed Some Like It Hot, which is kind of a classic spin similar to the show I did for 4 years on Broadway called Crazy for You. So it's kind of that classic with lots of tap dancing and great, great music. I really, really enjoyed that musical. But everything that I see is a gift. I love going to the theater. We love to go to TKTS and get our half-price tickets and see whatever we can see that's on the board. And my daughter's goal is to never pay full price. So she does the lottery, she does TKTS, she does Today's Tix, she does rush tickets, standing room. She does standing room. We did standing room for Funny Girl, which was so fun. And our standing room seats were not near each other. And she just went up to the house manager at the theater, and she just moved to New York like 2 weeks before. So she finds the house manager and she walks up and she said, "My mom and I have standing room tickets, but we would like to stand together. But if you could check your seating chart, if there are any empty seats, we would be happy to sit there." So she talks to the house manager, and they were like, "Well, absolutely. We actually have empty seats in the front row of the mezz. Would that be okay?" And she's like, "That'll be fine." So we just take our little, $25 standing room seats, and we sit in $200 seats. And I'm looking at my daughter, and I'm like, "You go, girl. You figure this out." She refuses. Yeah, we went to see The Play That Goes Wrong the other night, and when I was there for 36 hours. And on a Monday night, there's only 2 shows running, because it's Monday, it's dark night. So we go to the boards, and it's Chicago, and it's The Play That Goes Wrong. And she said, "Mom, we are not paying full price for The Play That Goes Wrong." And I said, "I'm fine with paying full price if they're gone. I honestly am, because I'm here, I'm working, I have no expenses, and I have my per diem money left over from Toronto. So it's like, I didn't eat in Toronto, so we can use my money." And she's like, "No, we are not, if they do not have those $45 tickets, we are not going." And I'm like, "Okay, well they had them, so otherwise we wouldn't be going to the theater." But she's so funny, she just refuses to spend that money.
The hot thing right now is to take popular movies, Back to the Future, Mean Girls, and craze there. Do you have a movie, like favorite movie that you would love to see done as a musical?
It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah, I would love that.
That would be great.
That's my favorite movie, besides all of my movies. But I love It's a Wonderful Life. Now, I don't think there's ever been a theatrical adaptation of it. I don't believe there has been. But ooh, I would love that. I would be there, absolutely, be there opening night.
Earlier this year, you surprised a crowd at Susan Egan's Disney Princess, the concert.
Yes. That was so fun. That was so fun.
How did that come about?
Yeah,
you were just in town?
They're all my friends. No, it was planned. So it used to be Broadway Princess Party at 54 Below in New York. And of course, Susan and I have been friends for decades. And Benjamin Rahala and Laura Osnes created Broadway Princess Party. And I was doing the New York Comic Con in 2019. So they said, "Oh, you're gonna come, you need to come and sing." So I did. I jumped over there after the 4-day con and I sang several songs from my struck characters, and just had a blast. Well, then they pitched it, and Susan jumped in as a producer and brought it to Disney Music, and then it turned into Disney Princess, the concert. So when they were in Orlando, I already had a couple other jobs I was doing with Disney that week, and had such a blast. And so they said, hey, can you just join in as a surprise guest, and we'll just freak out all the audience people. And we did. It was so much fun. Oh my gosh, people just were screaming when I came down the stairs. I really did surprise them. I guess nobody kind of figured out, put two and two together. I tried to keep it on the down low that I was at Walt Disney World that week, doing some other projects and stuff.
That's fantastic to go out
fun.
there.
It was really fun. I love that.
Do you like doing, I don't know, surprise performances for live crowds?
I do love doing that. So, you know, obviously we're in our strike right now, so I'm very limited as to what I can share. I'm going to kick you off the stage now. Kicking you off, my lovely
surprise performance, you say.
Oh, we're putting the chair down. If I stand up, okay, so I'm going to stand up because I really am so uncoordinated at sitting on these chairs. And forgive me, a fan's pen exploded on my dress, so I'm very sorry. We have many stains, so don't take pictures of it. I'll just put my hand like all over this area. That's just. I'll turn this way so you don't really see it. But anyways, we had a little explosion of paint pens, oils, and whatnots on my dress. Anyways, no biggies. So I can't obviously sing specific things, but I'm trying to like put my hand over this area. But we have come up with a way to be able to spend time with the fans and kind of share the parts that I can bring to conventions, which is to share my love for singing. And so we found some stuff through the television series, because that's not struck, that's our TV animation contract. And so I had a friend kind of find a track for me. It's very funny. And I can get to sing a little song for you, which is still really great. So we're very thankful that we can still accommodate. So as you have your phones up, I totally understand. So here's the rule. You can't share on social media me singing. You can take photos, but you can videotape it for yourself. And you can keep it for yourself. And that's totally fine. But when it comes to sharing it on social media during our strike, we're just trying to be extra, extra sensitive, even though what I'm about to sing is not crossing the line. So that's great. But if you wouldn't mind doing that, you can take photos and you can post and share and tag me. And I do my best at night when I get back to the hotel to share everything to the best of my ability. As long as I look presentable and it's not like a pretty unattractive photo or shooting me from down up or something like that, which is not very attractive. But anyways, yeah, so we haven't done a sound check, so we're just gonna wing it. My friends back there, are you ready? Are they gonna push the button? I'm ready to sing if you guys are. And we'll see. Thank you so much for having me today.